Hi, everyone. Today we're joined by Paul Bogart. He's cowboy and traditional country singer songwriter. He stays true to his roots with his reimagined forthcoming single, Ain't No Sunshine, which was originally written by and performed by the late Bill Withers. Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Great, Miss Judy. How are you?
Oh, doing good here in sunny Southern California. Where are you calling in from?
Well, I'm in Oklahoma right now. I was I was gonna try to do something a little different, maybe that no one else is doing on these Zoom interviews. I was out at the ranch this morning, and I thought I was gonna try to make this work. I actually checked my phone to see if I had enough service out there because I thought I would do this interview horseback, just
Oh,
because I was gonna be out there all day, and I thought it would be kind of interesting. And then I didn't have enough cell phone service. So anyway, it's a little the I'm just sitting here in my truck, so it's a little less maybe distracting than it would have been on a horse. But I thought, oh, that might be something different. But anyway,
that
all
horse would
good.
have been, that would have been great. I'm so sorry it didn't work out.
I
Maybe
know,
next
I
time
know.
when it gets closer to the release.
How far to go? It's actually coming out in November. I think it's the weekend. I forget the actual date. I think it's the Friday before Thanksgiving. So
Oh, okay. Well, great.
yeah,
Maybe we can
yeah,
talk then on the horse if another time
yeah.
doesn't work
There you go.
out.
You bet. You bet.
So, well, let's talk a little bit about your that new release that's coming out on the 24th, which is like tomorrow. Ain't
Yeah,
yeah, let's how did you get in touch with that song? You did an amazing
man.
job, by the
So
way.
thank you, thank you. My mom is the musical one in the family. Well, I'll say that side of the family is a bit more musical than my dad's side, and mom, she played piano at the church house when we were all kids. So all of us kids learned to sing and sing harmony when we were just little. So, but she was always listening to music when we were just babies. There was always music in the background, and what she loved was the Beatles and the Beach Boys and old soulful music and R&B. And so Bill Withers was in that regular playlist when I was 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. So this was one of the Bill Withers songs that just stays with you. And I've loved this song since I can remember. And so Zach Farnham, my manager, we started kicking around this idea during all this, the slowdown this year, and about recording, just doing some cover tunes, going in with my band and recording some cover tunes. And this was one that we considered that was a little outside of what I normally do, because I pretty well stay right down the middle, cowboy country music. And he said, well, would you consider doing, veering from that at all with some of these cover songs? And I said, well, sure, yeah, I guess. I still want them to be true to what I'm doing and who I am as an artist. So I got together with actually my guitar player and Nick Palmer, and Nick played that cool lick at the beginning of this song, and I was like, that's got to be the intro on the record. So anyway, yeah, that's how it kind of came about. I feel like it's a little dark, but that's the song. I mean, ain't no sunshine when she's gone, So um, I'm just real thrilled with how it turned out. I thought the band knocked it out of the park, and just yeah, I'm excited about it. So looking forward for everybody else hearing it too.
Oh, it is an amazing. You did a great job with it. It's
Well, thank you,
wow. Yeah, I really
thank
enjoyed
you.
it. And you also have a current single, "When She Gets a Hold on You."
Yeah,
Did you write that one? Co-write that one?
I did. When she gets a hold on you, I wrote that with Trent Willman and Nicole Witt. So Trent has produced the last few projects. He produces lots of different folks. Um, Cody Johnson is probably the biggest name that Trent produces, at least at this point. But he Trent and I write a good bit, and I had never written with Nicole Witt, but we got together that afternoon. We sat there on Trent's back porch in just west of Nashville, and it was just one of those days where it all worked. I write lots of songs that no one will ever hear. But then at the end of that day, it was like, okay, that one's special. It was one of those days where it just made you proud to be a songwriter. So anyway, that one I can't remember the release date on that. It's been out for a couple of months anyway. But yeah, when she gets a hold on you, kind of cool tune.
So your upcoming album, how many of those tracks did you write or co-write?
Let's see. There are a few cover songs on there. We put a Chris Ledoux song. Actually, one of the first songs I ever learned back when I was 10 years old was a Chris Ledoux song. So there's one of his. There's Ain't No Sunshine will be on it. There's a U2 song on it. Let's see. Is there another cover song? I'm trying to remember. There may be. Maybe that's all the covers. I think that's right. So, and then the rest of them, there are 10 songs total, and I think I'm a co-writer on the rest of them. No, there was one outside song, and Trent wrote a song on there that I have released. I released it last summer. It's called "I'm Just Saying," and Trent wrote that with, I think he wrote that with Janae Fleener and possibly Buddy Owens. Yeah, it was because Buddy Owens is from my hometown area in Northeast Oklahoma, where I grew up, and he was Buddy was one of the reasons I moved to Nashville. He encouraged me to. He's several years older than me, and but somebody I would look up to, and he was an encouragement as far as you need to move to town, you need to be out here and be part of this. So I had tried to write that idea, this I'm just saying idea, several times, and just didn't ever write. I wrote a song called I'm Just Saying. It just didn't ever work. It was one of those that I was never going to play for anybody. And then when Trent pitched me that song, I was like, man, that is the song I was trying to write. So I recorded that one. And Janae Fleener, she's another writer on that song. She's last year's first ever musician of the year, first ever female musician of the year. So just a fabulous fiddle player. She plays fiddle and utility for Blake Shelton and Jimmy Fortune. She's great player.
Wow,
so,
that's great.
Yeah, super talented folks.
Well, that's who to be surrounded by.
Yeah.
How about your other song, Never Grow Out of It?
Well, Never Grow Out of It, I wrote the song with Tommy Carlos, Cassidy Lynn, and Dan Wilson. So I write all the time with Cassidy Lynn and Dan Wilson. They're those two writers are all over my last full-length album, Leather. I just write with Dan and Cassidy regularly, and I think they might have been double booked with Tommy and with me, and they didn't realize it. So we all got together, and there were 4 people that showed up in the writers' room that day, and I was like, man, 4 people is kind of a crowd. But I said, well, let's just all write one, Yeah. And it was great. I was just thrilled. And again, I'd never written with Tommy, and I was just thrilled that it turned out like that, because we came up with a good idea, and I felt like we all got to throw in part of our hometown and our roots into this song. And all 4 of us are from totally different parts of the country, but we were all from small towns growing up. So the song just really worked. I'm proud of that one, and thankful to include it on this full-length album.
Wow.
So,
I also read that you wrote a song for Porter Wagner.
I did. So I wrote a song. Well, so you remember the Alan Jackson song? I forget what year it came out, but it's called Wanted, One Good-Hearted Woman. Yes. So Charlie Craig was the writer who wrote that song with Alan Jackson. Well, when I first moved to town 15 years ago, I got to know Charlie Craig, and I mean, you get to know these guys and you realize, oh yeah, they've written this and this song.
Yeah.
And, to have the opportunity to write a song with a guy like Charlie Craig was just huge. So we wrote this, we wrote this song, and Charlie, he called one afternoon. He said, "Hey man, I've got a connection with Porter Wagner." He said, "I know that Porter's getting older and he's slowing down quite a bit and he's not playing near as much, but he heard the song and he wants to cut it." He said, "What do you think?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, geez, yeah, pitch it to him, let him cut it. That would be great." So that was a thrill. I think that was actually on Porter's last studio album. Another feather in my cap. Just recently, Red Steagall is a cowboy poet and a Western music hero of mine. And so Trent Willman actually produces Red Steagall as well. So a song that I wrote with Trent and Shane Miner, we wrote the song a year and a half ago, and it's called "I Won't Have Far to Go." So we pitched the song to Red, and I think he put out the album last summer, and I think it was the only song on the album that Red Steagall himself didn't write.
Oh.
So it was just a real honor to have "I Won't Have Far to Go" on his album. So I included that song as well on this upcoming album of mine, and actually it's the title track of the record. So yeah, "Won't Have Far to Go."
Wow. So some of these, well-known talents that you've written for, who's made you the most nervous, like meeting them?
As far as people that I've written with,
Or written for, or with?
written for, so I've written with, man, who's made me the most nervous? I guess I haven't been just super, super nervous per se. Different writers will get you amped up. You get a chance to write with, Tom Douglas, and Tom wrote "The House That Built Me" as well as 1,000 other songs. And when you show up to write with a guy like that, you want to have a good idea, so it was a little nerve-wracking writing with Tom, but the times we got together, it was just incredible. And you see why that guy has had 1,000 songs recorded, because his mind is just, he's a writer.
Yeah.
And he just knows how to say it. So I wasn't nervous necessarily writing with Tom or Jamie O'Hara. Jamie was in the O'Kanes and is a fantastic writer. Jamie wrote "Grandpa Tell Me About the Good Old Days." And again, writing with those guys, you got to show up with a good idea. And they're always gracious. If you don't have a good idea, they've probably got a pocket full of them. So it's been a real treat to get to learn from those guys and get to see them do what they do, and they're obviously fantastic at it. So
yeah. Are there any artists out there you want to do a duet with?
Man, I've always, sure, yes. I always thought it would be super cool to do a duet, with like Willie Nelson. I've seen Willie Nelson play several times, and as a kid, I got to see him play at the Canes Ballroom in Tulsa. So I've always thought, man, it'd be great to sing one with Willie Nelson. And like a Dolly Parton, or somebody like a Reba McEntire, and we've all kind of talked about these potentially trying to get in the room with those guys, and would they do a duet with somebody like me?
Oh, sure.
So I don't know. We haven't ever really tried to knock doors down to get in the studio with any of them just yet, but anyway, I'm certain that there will be opportunities to do a duet. So we may try to talk one of those guys into singing with me. I tell you
Don't
what,
worry,
one
it'll
time,
happen. You have a
well,
great
Lord
voice.
willing, yeah. Thank you. One of the coolest musical experiences in Nashville. Are you familiar with the Time Jumpers?
Hmm.
Okay, so there's the Time Jumpers for the listeners here who aren't familiar with them. Check them out. Look them up. They are such a fantastic band. Depending on the season and through the years here, they've had up to 11 people in the band, 3 fiddles on stage. They play all kinds of country classics and swing and so forth, and they're just an unreal band to get to listen to and watch them live. I mean, they're all amazing musicians. I mean, to me, they're the best band in Nashville, and I think anybody moving to town to try to make a living doing music, it should be their assignment to go listen to the Time Jumpers every Monday night and
Wow.
and just study them, learn from them, see what they're doing. But I got to play. I've been able to sit in with their band a couple of times and
Wow.
just sing country classics. So getting to sing with and play with, like Vince Gill, he's in the band. I mean, he sat on his bar stool right next to me, and to get to sing with him and him sing harmony, it was crazy. What an experience. So, and he's a fellow Okie. He might be one that would be willing to jump in and sing a duet. So that might be that may be a phone call we'll try to make too.
That'd be great. Wow. How cool.
Yeah.
Hey, let's talk about Mothers and Sons. Oh,
Sure.
Great video, great song. Let's talk about that song.
Yeah. So that was another one I wrote with Dan Wilson and Cassidy Lynn. And my wife and I have 2 little boys, and they are 2 and 4. So it is real life at our house. It's just never a dull moment. And so Cassidy Lynn, I guess it was maybe a couple of months before writing this song, she just had her first baby boy, and it was their first baby. And so she's feeling all the feels, and motherhood is brand new, and I'm right in the middle right in the thick of it, with our 2 boys. So we started writing this idea, and it was just so natural. It just fell right into place. And I think at the time, Jet, our oldest, he was, he might have been, I don't even know if he was 3 yet. But he had just started venturing out in the backyard, and we had a big backyard backed up against the woods there, and it was his first time to go outside and just play by himself, and he was thrilled. His little trucks out there, and he's playing. So we're watching him. And so those scenes like that are what it was the furniture in that song. I'll say it like that. So really a sweet song.
That's great. By the way, how's your wife doing? She's pregnant with your 3rd?
She is. She's pregnant with our 3rd. She's doing well. She's about halfway through. Due date is in, let's see, January 25th, I believe, is the due date. Wow. So, yeah, there's another song on this album talking about making babies. So Ace, our second one, he was born in the car on the way to the hospital. Yeah, so Tanya, my wife, has babies really fast. And so we've, as it's getting close to the end of the pregnancy, we've got our bags are packed there in the trunk of the car. We're ready just anytime. I canceled, well, didn't cancel, just didn't book any shows anywhere around the due date. So we are prepared, and I'm not leaving her side because I know that she has babies pretty fast. So she had a few contractions that one afternoon, and we were actually out running errands, and I said, well, let's just go to the doctor. Let's go to the hospital and let them check you. And well, then the contractions stopped. We called the doctor, and they said, well, you're obviously not in active labor. So anyway, long story short, that night we went to bed about 9:30. She went right to sleep and slept hard until 11:20. And at 11:20, she got up to go to the bathroom, and her water broke.
Ooh.
And all right, it is game time. Here we go. We're doing this. But we were ready. You know, we were gone in 5 minutes. We had a neighbor come down, you know, run down the road and stay with our 2-year-old Jet.
Yeah.
And we were gone. And at normal speeds, it took, because I timed it multiple times, to get to St. Thomas there in, you know, west side of Nashville, it takes 30 minutes to get there. So, and I mean, it's happening right now. It is happening. So I'm hauling the mail getting to St. Thomas. Well, about halfway there, my modest little bride starts shimmying her shorts down in between contractions that are just every 20 seconds. I mean, it's like fire. And the next thing I know, the contraction happens, and she says, Paul, the head's out. And I'm like, what is going on? You know, and I'm praying, and I'm trying to coach and trying to keep the car between the ditches. And then the very next contraction, 20 seconds later, out he came, and she delivered her baby right there all by herself. I never slowed down. And so she delivers her own baby. I know, she's just like she's a hero. Superhero. She sure is. And thankfully, by the grace of God, this baby instantly started crying. So he was okay. And so she looks at, you know, she looks over at my speedometer, and she looks at me, and she said, well, he's crying. He's okay. And she said, I'm okay. You could probably slow it down a little bit. Like, okay, you're right. So I called the hospital and said, hey, meet us at the door. Anyway, long story short, all of that came out in a 3-minute song that I wrote with Bill White. So Bill is a great friend of mine, a fantastic writer. He's a Hall of Fame DJ, made the biggest part of his living in Cincinnati as a on-air personality on a country station there. Well, he's in Nashville. He's been in Nashville, I don't know, maybe 10 years now, 8 or 10 years. And he's a great writer, super clever, really funny, and the perfect guy to write this song with. And it's called The Ballad of Exit 199. And it is also on the upcoming album. So true story about how Ace Bogart came into the world.
What a name.
Well, that's the thing. I knew, you know, I knew I couldn't name him something like Paul or John or Tom, a usual name. Yeah. He was born at 100 miles an hour. We got to name this kid something that is fitting. So we named him Ace. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Way to go, Ace.
Yeah, no doubt. And he's 2 now. Everything's great. He's tough as nails. He was horseback with me this morning. He loves it. Oh. I got two good little boys, and we're excited to have the next baby Bogart coming up here in January.
That's great. We can't wait to hear about that one. So let's change gears. And you did a song called "When the Cowboys Are Gone." Let's talk about that song.
Well, "When the Cowboys Are Gone" was the first song that I wrote with Trent Willman and Shane Miner, and those guys we're the 3 of us we're team ropers. We're cowboy guys. Shane Miner used to ride. Yeah, Shane used to ride bulls, and you know, Trent, he ropes. His family has a big ranch down in East Texas, and I grew up doing. I still get to rope and compete a good bit now, and we showed up that day and none of us had a really over the top great song idea or a start on a song, and so we started just talking about our cowboy heroes and just shooting the breeze, and Shane said, man, what would it be like if there weren't any more cowboys? Oh. And Trent, in his gruff Texas voice, he says, God forbid. you know, and we all kind of laughed at him. But that's the song we wrote that day. I mean, that is the tune that we wrote when the Cowboys are gone. And I'm just thrilled with how that song came out. Really a great tune. We released it to Texas radio, I guess, the summer before last. And it, you know, the folks down there like the song, and it's very fitting for a Texas radio release. But it's always a crowd pleaser when we play it live. So
Wow, that's
yeah.
great. So, you know, we've talked about your songwriting career. That's an amazing thing. And now for the Hollywood Times Today viewers, what we're going to do is let's maybe in the next month, when it gets closer to November, the release of your album, let's kind of see if we can get somewhere, some kind of Wi-Fi to do the Zoom on your horse. Because I'd like to talk to you more then about your being the cowboy and team roper, and that would be great kind of in that setting. So we'll conclude this interview today, and we'll get together and try to talk more about when the album comes out and about your cowboy career. How's that sound?
Well, thank you. That sounds great. I would really enjoy that. And I don't know, this morning it was raining here a good bit, so we had to get inside. You know, there's a big indoor arena, and I thought, well, I'll do the interview in the indoor arena. And for whatever reason, it just wouldn't work inside. So hopefully sometime as it gets closer to the album release in November, we'll have a nice sunny day, and we can be maybe you can see what it's like to work some cows or something like that horseback with me. How's that?
No, that sounds exciting. I know the viewers will love it. So
sure.
We appreciate you taking the time with us, Paul, and we look forward.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Miss Judy. I certainly appreciate you guys, you know, supporting the music and telling folks about it. So thank you.
Yeah, like I've always keep saying, there would be no music without songwriters. So we love you. And those of you that don't know that, you've got to love songwriters, because you wouldn't have that music, whatever you listen to. Country's the best, but hey,
that's right.
Not cowboy music, but you need songwriters.
That's the truth. Amen to that.
You be safe out there.
Yes, ma'am. You do the same, and we'll talk soon, okay?
Okay.